2022. Oh, thank you, Dorinda. I forgot that. 2022. We're here tonight. I know school is about to open, so everyone is excited about that. Before we go any further, our president, Mr. Ramjatan, had spinal surgery. So we're sending our prayers to him. He couldn't be here on tonight. So we just want to pray for him while he recovers. At this time, I'm gonna ask council member, Ms. Rajwinder Kaur, if she could make an announcement about the chat at this time.
Yes, Barbara. Good evening, everyone. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. The chat option is available for you to make any comments or ask something. So please be respectful. If anyone wants to speak, please type the word speak in the chat option, and whenever there is time to be asked you, so you will be called according to your name entered. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajwinder. Short, sweet, and spicy. At this time, we'll ask our secretary, Ms. Elena Aminova, if she could do a roll call at this time.
Good evening, everyone. President Vijay Ramjatan, excused. Second Vice President Barbara Williams.
First Vice President.
Oh, sorry.
I'm present.
Thank you. Second Vice President Ted Chang.
You demoted me.
I'm here.
Thank you. Secretary and myself, Elena Aminova, present. We have, let me go through in order. Treasurer. Sure if Lu Zhao is here, but let me make him a co-host first.
Yeah, present.
Perfect, thank you. Member Natifa Lewis.
Present.
Member Rajwinder Kaur.
Present.
Member Shaliza Dean.
Present.
Thank you. Member Simone Dornbach.
Present.
And who are we missing? Member Cassandra Alexander.
Present.
It's from Kate.
Right.
You're leaving Nancy out.
Member Nancy Lagasi, but I don't see her.
Unexcused.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You.
Thank you so much. So I want to say welcome to all our principals, parent coordinators, and our community that are here tonight. At this time, I will introduce you guys to who know and reintroduce you to the ones that don't know. Our wonderful, amazing superintendent, Dr. Pate.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I was off camera for a little while. I was just trying to complete a document to show you on today. I am so very excited to be in the room with you. This has been a very, very challenging last few months and very challenging last few weeks. But this is exactly what the work is about. And so I say, let's go for it. Let's do it. I'm going to share just a little bit with you because I do want to tell you a little about our ever-growing team. We're excited to have added quite a few new members, and I'm going to just show you a graphic of those new members in a moment. And then some other things. I want to talk to you a little about the 90-day plan. I want to talk to you a little bit about how we're preparing to open powerfully and to support us in doing and understanding sort of what will be the path forward. We also have our Narayan Barad, who is no stranger to this space. He is always so gracious to join us, to just talk to us and answer questions connected to operations across our district. We have quite a few members here from the team. I don't know if they can unmute, but I do see Dr. Joanne Benoit here. She is our new executive director. I see Natasha Eastman. She's our student services, and Dynamite. We've gotten shout outs about her work in the areas of social emotional wellness. and student supports. So I'm excited that she is a member of our team. I can't see everyone else, but as I go through a very, very short presentation, you will see their names and be hopefully get a sense of who they are. They have been asked by me to be present at these meetings, and so when we meet as a community, as this amazing collaboration, you'll begin to see their faces, get to know them, and the work that they are doing, and the work that we will do together. I'll talk really, really quickly. That is so funny. 90-day plan. Yes. You'll get that in its entirety soon, but I'll give you a snapshot of it on tonight. And so I'm going to share really quickly, share screen, just a couple of things, just a few items that I just wanted to bring before your view. You can see this screen. It should say Community Education Council, District 28.
Yes, we can see it, Dr. Pate.
Superintendent's meeting. You know, we always start where we start, right? But my corporate background says you have to ensure that people know who you are and what you do. And so in District 28, this is who we are. We're a space where we celebrate differences. We understand that that's powerful, and offering up for us, you know, learning and understanding that we would not otherwise, you know, have access to. So unlimited possibilities to learn and expand our knowledge and commitment to all humanity. We are a very diverse community coming from countless racial, ethnic, language, and belief backgrounds. And you know that 2 years ago, I told you I lifted this statement from the UN's mission statement. And so I give credit where credit is due, but we own this statement now. We commit to striving for inestimable contribution to the lives of our scholars. That's big work. In case you're wondering, inestimable means I can't even begin to fathom the kind of impact we hope to have on the lives of our scholars in this amazing district. And so I wanted to just share just a snapshot of that. The big news is that our team has expanded by leaps and bounds. I want to just bring this in front of you, and I'm going to have it up here. Again, I'm going to deliver a slide deck to our CEC that can be posted on the website. But this is a picture of our district team as it existed yesterday. As of yesterday, we have 2 additional members that are going to help to fill the areas on this org sheet that says either TBD or none assigned. So we have 2 additional people, talent coming aboard on our district team, but this is a little of what our new structure looks like. And for those of you who have been with us for a little while, you know that our district team had, including me, 8 people, 7. All right, that's what we had. And we have been working tirelessly alongside you to ensure that we got the work done that the district needed. We addressed the areas that needed to be addressed. So I anticipate, if you've ever complimented us on being responsive, I anticipate that will go through the roof, and that you'll be able to see things from us that you have not seen before, and a level of support and outreach and being out there in the schools that you've never seen before. We will have 21 team members from the beginning of the school year. You will see us out in the schools more than ever before, in the community more than ever before. And I could not be more proud of the work that we will undertake at this time. So I was also asked to produce a 90-day plan. Ms. Venus, I saw you, a 90-day plan. And so I'm going to share that plan with you in the coming weeks, because I'm doing some final edits of it. But there are some snapshots that I hope to share with you as well. The beginning of the plan is just who I am, right? It's to me, I have to continue to say to folk that these jobs, because you can't let this stuff get to your head, these jobs are about service. This work is about service. It is about meeting a need, filling a gap, and visioning for the future a system that's greater than what you found. That's what it's about. And so I just want to share that little piece with you, that I see my job as being, you know, a chief learner, the person who is committed beyond and above everything else to learning at a high level so that I can support our 36 schools to do this work at an even stronger level. And that's my opening statement. There's a little overview about our district, who we are. We know that we are a very diverse space. We know that we have done a great job and we have greater work to do. After Narayan, I'll share a little bit of our assessment outcome data. I will tell you some of it. It's all embargoed, so I can't show it to you, but I am happy to report some of the outcomes that we achieved this year as a district. Even during a pandemic, when we've not had state tests for a couple of years, D28 showed up. We showed up, you all. And I could not, I'm happy and proud of how we performed. And we also are clear about the work that needs to happen moving forward. And so as we move into this new space, right, the new superintendency, as designed by our chancellor, it seems that there are 3 key objectives that I have to really be focused on, and I've got to do the work on so that we continue to grow as a district. And those 3 objectives are collaboration, right? Fortifying the foundation for productive and collaborative relationship building and the work across all of our constituency, every stakeholder, right? Collaboration. Understanding, strengthening the 360-degree comprehensive understanding of our many communities, our organizations, our stakeholders, our opportunities and challenges. We have to seek to understand. So you're going to get a lot of, I'd like to show up for this. I'd like to be a part of this conversation because I want to ensure that I understand the challenge so that I can lead the work in meeting those challenges. And our final objective is engagement. Supporting the engagement of our community stakeholders and inviting everyone in to join in envisioning a pathway that continues to grow and strengthen our student achievement and the health and well-being of our district. That's a key piece for us. So 3 big objectives that are situated and will sit within the chancellor's pillars, and also the work that we are doing as a district. I'm going to stop sharing because I just want to say a couple of things. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to stop sharing. Let's see if it works. Nope, that didn't work. Hold on a second, you all. We always have a good time. Well, maybe you all have a good time with me figuring out the share bit. There are some big initiatives that I was hoping to be able to announce in the coming weeks around some of the work that we are doing in this district. This year, different from how we've ever done things before, because we can come out and be in person with each other, and because we can have hybrid opportunities where we can be in person, but we can record and televise out. The CEC, this CEC and myself have come to an agreement around a couple of things that we're going to do. As you know, the CEC rates the superintendent every single year. And as you know, I came to you and said, we are going to be what we make each other, and that the work will stay accountable and we will be responsive. And together we will build the strongest district that we can possibly build. So our CEC met with me. Ted Chang was there, and our first vice president, Barbara Williams, was there as well to talk to me about the superintendent's rating. And I know you all have seen that or will shortly see that. And they made the suggestion and asked for a very special something to happen. And that is, on a monthly basis, our team will do either a curriculum or an instruction, sort of mini PD. We're going to offer that PD to folk who want to be in person, but we're also going to stream that PD as well. And then at our regular monthly CEC meeting, we'll do, someone on the CEC or someone from my team will do a very, very brief overview, but you'll have the opportunity to view that PD anytime you'd like. there was someone that I think it was Ted, you said that the membership really, our space here, our monthly meeting has become very, very popular. And we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy with our visitors who come in and folk who enjoy speaking and addressing us, and we learn a lot together. That doesn't always include instructional learning, teaching and learning. So we're going to add that to our what we do as a district collaborative. So on a monthly basis, I'm hoping, I see Ms. Eastman here. She does so much work with student services. I'm hoping that I can convince her to do a PD for families around student supports and what that looks like at the school level and what's the bridge to home, community, and back. And so that will be something that you could come in person to be with us when it happens. We're going to record it so it can be viewed in other spaces at other times. And then at our CEC, we'll just do it like a 5-minute. We did this. It was a great experience. If you'd like to know more about it, it's available. So that's a big development. The second really big development is the think tanks that I will launch very, very shortly. In all honesty, in my mind, I thought our CEC was September 8th. So I was prepared to have the links ready for folk to say, I'd love to be a part of the think tanks. We are going to do another jobs fair here in our district, as we did last year. But this year, we're going to send it to the universe, to the stratosphere. We have commitment from all of our senators, our council people, our borough president. We have commitments from everyone to support us in this job fair, which means we're going to have opportunities from some of the industry leaders to be in the room, prepared to interview and extend offers to our community. You want to know how we get our register back up? You want to know how we increase enrollment? We make District 28 the absolute place to be, where you can come in this district and not only can your children learn at the highest levels, but hey, I can also perhaps advance my career. That's ambitious, I know, but that's why you hired me, right? So this is big work that we have going on. We also have an initiative that's connected to minority and women businesses. So you will hear more about that. We're extending opportunities, and I am asking you, I know you're busy. I know life is busy. Believe me, I get it. I'm a single mom of 3 and I'm a superintendent in New York City. I get it. But I'm going to ask you if you can find time to partner with us to be a part of the think tank and the planning committees for a number of initiatives that we are preparing to launch. Please do so. I will advertise like crazy so that people have a good and fair opportunity to say, yes, I'd like to be a part of it. But when we do that, please respond, because this is, it's as good as we make it. It will be as good as we make it. And because we're open, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's continue to evolve as a district. Let's continue to expand as a district. We are launching a full-scale STEM alliance. Sue Kong, our deputy superintendent, has already brokered about 10 partnerships with tech, engineering, and science organizations and corporations who have pledged to support this work. We continue to support and to partner with the NAACP, who brought to us Girls Who Game. They brought to us all kinds of coding partnerships, which our students performed well and competed nationally on last year. So that's a real, I know I'm saying a lot, and I hope that would be in a slide deck for you. I will get all of that in the slide deck. It's been a very, very busy few weeks, so you all have to just bear with us as we're trying to get all of ourselves together. But there's a lot that's coming, is what I'm saying. And I want you to be excited, because I'm excited. My team is like, we're a little afraid. That's big work. Yes, it is. Welcome to D28. That's what we do. So anyone who joins and comes aboard this team, you got to be ready to go. And you got to want to do so courageously. We support everyone who works with me. No, I'm about it. I'm not a person who sits on the sideline and wait for someone. I don't even know that life. Bring a cup of coffee. I don't know that life. What I do know is rolling up my sleeves and getting in this field and hearing what people have to say and responding to it. That's the work. And so, Barbara, I know I'm talking a lot, you see, but I do want to just say that we have big plans for this district to continue to grow, to continue to expand. Academically, we are doing very, very well. Our state assessment, we are ranked 10th. Is it 9th? It's 9th across the city. 9th across the city as a district. This is coming out of a pandemic. Every district had a drop in math performance. Every district, 45, had a drop in math performance. We are still 6th in the city. Now, the data is embargoed, which means I am not at liberty to show that. And I know if I put that in a slide deck, I'm really quick with screen catch. I could do it. I could do it like in a second. People are very excited when I do it. So I know that I've got skill in this place, and I don't want to be accused of releasing this data while it's still embargoed. So by the time we have our next meeting, or even in the next 2 weeks, I'll have that information and I will be able to share it with you. So you can really take a good look at what we're doing, how we did. We have a lot of growth to make when it comes to our ELL, our English language learners, our multi-language language learners. We have a lot of ground to gain. We have a lot of ground to gain when it comes to our students with disabilities. That is our work for this year. You're going to hear me say it. You're going to see it all over the place. We have a lot of work to do. But overall, this district is well, it's healthy. We are striving, we are innovating, and we are collaborating like never before. So I thank you for the time. I know I've been talking a lot, but thank you for just an opportunity to speak with you. I have team members here. Raj, do you see everyone? I know Sonia, I'm so happy that we are together. I know you was on vacation. Thank you for being here in the room. Rajendra Jimenez Jalal, he is, my goodness gracious, the muscle, the data, the trainer, the school improvement guru in our district. I'm so happy that you're here with us on today. Are there any other team members in the room?
Sonia's here, Natasha's here, some of our principals are here.
Natasha's here. I did see some of our principals here.
Principal McShane and Romaine Johnson, AP Johnson from 80 are both here.
Excellent. I'm so happy that you're here, that you've joined us on today. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to go ahead and stop talking now, because I know you're probably like, I'm killing time here. I'm going to stop talking. And thank you for the opportunity, everyone.
No, Dr. Pate, you could talk all night. That's the reason we didn't have any speakers on tonight, because we want to give you an opportunity to speak. And we know school is about to open and our parents have a lot of questions. So that's why you're here. You know, if it wasn't for the questions, we'd let you talk all night. So don't feel bad about that. You can I'll give you a couple minutes, Dr. Pate, to introduce your team and have them just say hello so everyone know who they are.
Absolutely. If you want to go ahead and unmute, please introduce yourself, new team members.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joanne Benoit. I am the Executive Director of School Support for District 28. Very happy, very honored, and feeling very blessed to be here supporting this tremendous district, terrific district under the leadership of Superintendent Pate. I will be here as often and as regularly as possible, but besides being here with you on a monthly basis, I am absolutely available, you know, to support in between the meetings. I will be leading, as you saw from the table of organization, the teaching and learning team. So, some of these PDs and opportunities that Superintendent Pate mentioned will come from our team, and we are excited to partner with the community around that work of engaging families in instructional talks, so that you better understand what is happening in the schools, how we are supporting your children, and how we can support you. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Very happy to be here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Natasha Eastman, and as you saw on the organizational chart, I am part of the student service team, which deals with SEL and counseling. I have had the pleasure of working with District 27, 28, and 29, but in the high school capacity. And so this year I am with the amazing Dr. Pate in the K through 8 capacity. So I'm looking forward to collaborating with your team. I have collaborated in past with Sonia, and so it feels like coming back full circle. And I am excited to be a part. And whatever is needed and I am available, I will be honored to be with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. I have Maura McShane has been acting principal at PS 8 while Principal Cox was out in recovery. She will be effectively retiring, and then we will send an out sort of a notice out to everyone in our district regarding the C30 process. We have not begun that process at all. We will begin once the retirement is official. But Principal McShane, would you like to say hi?
Sure. Good afternoon. Good evening, actually. The hours are kind of all mushed together since it's been very busy, but good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm excited to be a part of the District 28 team. And I just look forward to the new school year. We got a lot going on, like Dr. Pate said, but I look forward to it and we're going to have a good year.
Absolutely. Are there any other team leaders? Oh, Romaine Johnson. Romaine Johnston, she is in the room. And congratulations to you. I don't know if you want to say hello to everyone. This is the assistant principal at PS 80 as well.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Pate. Yes, I am so excited about this new school year. Looking forward to working with Ms. McShane and everyone to have a wonderful and successful school year. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have some other news. You know what happens? Here's what happens. You know, we were celebrating some great work that took place, some great accomplishments connected to our magnet work and Principal of the Year, MEMS, and now he's gone. So Principal MEMS has been promoted to Superintendent of District 16 in Brooklyn. So we're giving a big shout out to him. Principal Raven Askew has been promoted to Deputy Superintendent in District 27. So a son of 28, David Norman, who went to 27 to become deputy, is now the superintendent of 27. And of course, he came back to 28 and got one of our own. And she will be supporting him as deputy in District 27. In the sort of the opening and vacancy that was created by Principal MEMS moving into his new position, we have placed none other than our own Cedric Hall. You all know him. He is a district team member. He is holding down the incredible fort at Middle School 358 until we can begin the C30 process. And then you all will be invited to participate in that selection of a school leader, where it's going to be a big deal. As you know, that is a very wonderful school. The building is being held down like nobody's business by Tanya Bates Howell, another extraordinary principal here in the district. And for PS 354, Raven Askew's former school, we have moved Principal Emanuela Remy into the principalship of that school.
They bringing in more people.
And so lots of change happening. Oh, I see Pat Hanley is here. So lots of change happening, obviously, but we're doing I feel like I have to tell you, yes, a lot is happening, but a lot of good is happening. We are really beginning to optimize how we function as a district. And we didn't have that opportunity before because we spent all of our energy managing a pandemic. And so now it feels, and we met with our principals on, was it yesterday? The days are leaving me. Is it yesterday? We had principal conference on yesterday. And I asked them, we just took a deep breath because it's the first year in a long time that we've opened without having to think about, you know, the big social, the big, you know, sort of social distancing and masking and closing the school, opening the school. It's been such a long time. So I'm really, truly happy that we are able to open so powerfully. I also see Patricia Hanley. Patricia Hanley is a D28 daughter. She is formerly the assistant principal over at, Pat, give me the school, my brain. I've been in meetings all day, you all, so I'm well cooked.
Yes, no worries. Yes,
well cooked.
Thank
you so much. And she is now acting principal at PS 54. Principal Anita Prashad will be retiring on October 31st. So no, we have not begun the C30 process, but the school, I definitely wanted to have a good transition plan and someone who is a strong administrative leader and a strong educator. And so Principal Hanley, acting Principal Hanley, is covering all the bases over at PS 54. And you also know that Joanne Thomas, principal of PS 206, I'm telling you all, I'm well cooked, but I can hardly remember my own name at this point, has retired effective today. And so the interim acting is their own assistant principal, Miss Asiela Fishburne. And she is not in the room that I know of, but I'm going to have all of our folk visibly to you at our next meeting so that they can introduce themselves and answer any questions. And by that time, we'll have dates and information regarding beginning the C30 process. So that you are well aware of what's happening. You know that those are events that are open for you to participate in, for you to view. And we want to make sure that we are getting the right folk in the right schools doing the right work. So you are invited to be a part of that conversation as well. Is that it? I think that's it. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pate. So much information. All I could say was breathe. So we, once again, if you have a question for any of our panelists on tonight, write the word speak in the chat. It will be open until 8 o'clock. So, well, 7:30. So you have a little time. Elena, if you could monitor that for me, I would appreciate it. We have a resolution that's was sent out that is on the board contained to the open meeting law. We're going to review that and vote on it on tonight also. But before we do that, I'm going to give Ms. Sona Rueda, who is our family leadership coordinator and the great work she's doing at Sutphin Boulevard, the opportunity to give her report at this time. Sonia, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you. So that whole enthusiasm, I feel like this is like a pep rally. And this is how it's been. You know, we're ready, we're excited. And so I'm just going to add to all the amazing things that Dr. Pitt has shared in terms of what we're looking forward to doing and continue doing, right? I've had the honor of being a humble servant of District 28 for over 15 years. And so we just keep building this work. Parent leadership, family involvement is true to my heart. And so we're continuing to do parent leadership training. It's continuous starting in September all the way through October. We actually had sessions over the summer that were well attended. And so I'm glad you asked for it. We gave the sessions and you know, people actually attended in the summer, which was great. The other thing is we have a website. We have a website that is, you know, it has some kinks. We've been working them out, but it is there. I'll put it in the chat shortly. We're also updating it. As Dr. Pate just shared, things are happening like as probably as we're speaking. And so we're updating all of that, but we are so excited that we have a website. If there are things that you want to share, just send it to me. We're looking forward to finally like being out there with our website up and running. Also know that part of my role is to work with parent coordinators. We have close to 13 new parent coordinators. And so we are thrilled to have our first in-person meeting with parent coordinators since our school shut down.
Wow.
So this is like almost like a party. You know, we're excited, we want to see each other like a reunion. And so that'll be happening Tuesday. But part of that work is supporting them, networking. How are we going to support our families? What's new, what's out there, right? We don't know everything. I don't know everything, but we can learn together. Many of you reach out to me and say, hey, Sonia, did you hear about this? And so my role is to share that information. And so I'm looking forward to continuing doing that. In terms of STEM, NAACP, we did a series of sessions with parent coordinators and with families, right? It's how can families support students, their children in STEM and activities? We're going to continue that work. One of the other things is the parent leadership sessions are also being offered in Spanish. So si hay alguien aquí de habla español, muchas de las sesiones que vamos a hacer para las familias lo vamos a ofrecer en español. Voy a poner mi correo electrónico. Si quieren más información, por favor, comuníquense conmigo. So I'm excited. If I could speak more languages, I would offer it, but Spanish is kind of where I stop. But I do network with translation to make sure that all our family receive the vital information. Last thing is, please reach out to your schools if there's any vacancies in any of the parent leadership structures, PA, PTAs, school leadership teams, Title I. Make sure that the word goes out because I'm doing a really fast and furious campaign to make sure that all those vacancies are filled. You know, in all seriousness, this is vital. This is vital to make sure that your voice is elevated, that the issues are on the table. Superintendent Dr. Pate, we meet with President's Council. We don't have a President's Council yet. So we're looking to make sure that we fill that. We need to make sure that all those opportunities officially are filled, but also even if you don't join officially, come out to the meetings, virtual meetings, in person. We need to hear your voice and you need to make sure that you take opportunity, especially that now we're such a big team. There's a lot more of us to capture your needs, your questions, your concerns, and just network. So thank you again. Thank you for this opportunity. And I look forward to continue being a humble servant for District 28 and to work in collaboration with you. So thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Sonia. It's our pleasure working with you. So there's a new, what the word I use? New thing they have in law, that's written in law that says when they're hiring a parent coordinator, they CECs have to do consultation, no matter if it's high school or if it's middle school or elementary. So we had the pleasure, the principal at Hillcrest High School was hiring a brand new parent coordinator this week. So CEC 28 was invited and I had the pleasure of doing consultation with them. It was a great process and I really appreciate it. And I want to say congratulations and good luck to the principal at Hillcrest High School for their new parent coordinator, because it said that you have to have, every school have to have a parent coordinator. And since we have one more week to go, we want to make sure all, you know, like Dr. Pate is making sure that everybody has principal and VP, we want to make sure we have parent coordinators. They're the backbone of the school. So congratulations to Hillcrest High School. At this time, we'll have our council's report, and Mr. Ted Chang is going to present the resolution containing to the open meeting law. So I'll call on him first, I'll call on you last, Ted, since you're gonna do that, if you don't mind.
Sure,
Nati,
no problem, Barbara.
Okay.
And by the way, it's the resolution is it's the Fair Student Funding Budget Resolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you for the clarification, Ted. So we'll call on you last. At this time, Ms. Natifa Lewis, do you have a report or an update?
Good evening. For this week, no main updates. Just looking forward to the start of the school year and very happy to hear all the plans that Dr. Pate laid out because they really align with what I'm looking forward to for the year.
Thank you, Natifa. Ms. Rajwinda Kaur.
Yeah, no reports as of now.
Shaliza Dean. Thank you, Rajwinda. Shaliza Dean.
I echo what Latifa said. One thing I noticed in our community is that we don't have as many speed bumps in our district and signs that said this is a school district, go 20 miles an hour. So that is something I want us to work on for this year.
Thank you, Shaliza. Ms. Simone Dornbach.
I have nothing to report for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. Cassandra Alexander.
I have nothing to report, but it was a lot of information within the last hour and a half, which is a great thing, and I'm just taking it all in.
Thank you, Cassandra. Lu Zhao.
I have I don't have much to report, but can I talk a little bit about the resolution? Just or there's a separate section we do that.
No, you could go ahead, Lou.
Right. So first of all, I support that the resolution. We should have enough funding for our school. And at this moment, especially at this moment, we do have some federal money come into the city. So actually we can do it. So we should do it. However, I also want to remind us, this federal money will stop in the future. So we cannot forever rely on federal, resources, and the city's resources to allocate, budget is limited. And so with the enrollment, continue to fall, we have to be mindful that it's not going to continue forever. So we have to spend money wisely. We have to spend money, responsible, with enough transparency, and also very important, we have to focus on how to, improve our education to justify this, spending, and also, try to, basically let people stay in the city, not leave the city. The reason that the enrollment fall, we can analyze why it happens, but in general, people left the city, right? So we want people to stay in the city. That will give us, more resources going forward with, tax money, everything. With people left the city, we're gonna have, even fewer, resources. We cannot continue as it, forever. So this is something I think very important and very, critical, to notice. Not just asking for more money, then it's easy, but how to spend it, how to maintain the flow is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Elena Aminova.
Good afternoon again, everyone. For this month, for me, I have attended actually the workshop that our great Sonia Rueda hosted on the Title I and the Parent Advisory Council and their roles and responsibilities, which I think was so great. Provided a lot of information and refreshers for the parent leaders. Can't stress the importance of any parent leaders who are here, who are part of the Title I school, even if you're not part of Parent Advisory Council, to attend some of the workshops that Sonia is doing. Even if you're interested in becoming a parent leader and don't know what's involved, I think there's so much value in these workshops. And Sonia just breaks it down so easily for you. So if you have any ambiguity or any clarifications that you need, great resource there. So I want to give a shout out to the workshop that was offered. I know that you do a lot of workshops, Sonia, as well, but that particular one was a great one. Also, yesterday morning and this morning, I've attended an orientation for freshmen at Forest Hills High School, and I know a lot of our district families, our middle schoolers, are joining high school this week and next week, right? As orientations are happening. So it was great being at Forest Hills High School, this morning and yesterday, as I am on the leadership team there as well, to just welcome our families from Russell Sage, Hosey, Metropolitan, who are now entering high school, and how excited everyone is. So we don't forget our families as they move on to high schools, and we want to make sure that they have a nice transition as well. And we look obviously forward to kicking off next week, which, believe it or not, even though today is September 1st, exactly a week from today on the 8th, all of our youngsters are going to go to first day of class. So we look forward for it to be a transition, a smooth transition into the new normal, which is going to be hopefully a normal this time around. So I look forward to hearing all the great stories in our October meeting about first days, first weeks, and first month. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Before we let Mr. Chang do his presentation, you have one last minute to speak in the chat. I know Dr. Pate and Sonia gave us a whole bunch of information, but I know we should have a whole bunch of questions also because school is reopening next week. So you have a couple of minutes, please put speak in the chat and we'll call on you as you enter. And at this time, Ted Chang.
Thank you, Barbara. My laptop is a little bit unreliable today, so if I cut out, I'll just reconnect on my other computer. Today we have a resolution, and it's on fair student funding weights and restoring funding for academic recovery in NYC. Originally we were going to hold a resolution committee and meeting just due to summer scheduling and people being hard to reach and things like that. That never really happened. So we're just going to do it today, sort of in the meeting. Discuss whatever drafting changes we might want to have, and then if everyone's okay with the draft as is, then we will have public comment later in the meeting, and then after public comment, we will vote on the resolution. I guess what I will do first is, just because we've been talking a lot about Robert's rules, and we're supposed to be using that for our meetings. So I just to clarify what we're going to do, we're going to put this motion on. We're going to put this motion on the floor, and then after we discuss any potential changes, we're going to postpone the motion until after public comment. So I make a motion to approve the resolution on fair student funding weights and restoring funding for academic recovery in NYC. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, so I guess if the motion is seconded, then we can start discussing the resolution. I know there were a number, when I briefly sort of discussed why I wanted to put this resolution forth, there were a couple of reasons. First of all, at the Panel for Educational Policy in May, the DOE promised to put together another fair student funding panel, which it has done, and so they're busy discussing fair student funding and how to improve the formula. And a lot of the at the May meeting of the PEP, a lot of the calls were for increasing weights for students who are not currently accounted for, or whose outcomes are not improving at the rate that we would like them to improve. So, and that was the impetus for another fair student funding working group. And at the same time, you know, if all of you, many of you, I'm sure, have been following the news. Certainly, I'm sure all the DOE employees here are aware. You know, there's kind of been a lot, sort of a legal brouhaha over the DOE budget. It went before a judge. The judge ruled that the budget cuts that were adopted earlier this summer violated state law. And so the judge issued an injunction against that, against the budget cuts, and required that the DOE budget remain at the 2021-2022 levels. Then the city appealed. There was an automatic stay, and so we're basically waiting for the appeals court to have a hearing and rule on that. But I think, like, the legalities of this aside, I think as a district, we just want to weigh in with the values that we have as a district, through our members, through our elected members. And I think these are very related issues, because if the funding does get restored, if some amount of funding gets restored or all the funding gets restored, I think it's important to figure out, you know, where is that funding going to go? And just earlier this year, there were many calls for dedicating more funding towards the neediest students, because those are the students who persistently, you know, we have trouble improving their outcomes. And there are a lot of really obvious explanations sometimes. You know, sometimes students, you know, are not attending school well, and maybe more outreach to that student to figure out what's happening in their life could encourage them to come to school more. But because, you know, the staff at that school is already spread so thin, they just don't have the staff time to dedicate towards that particular project. So in a lot of cases, the high needs students need more touch and need more focus in order to really figure out what's happening and help them. And so that's why there have been these calls for more fair student funding for these students. I think when the idea for this resolution came up, there were a few requests. One of the requests, I think, and Lou spoke earlier, was about, you know, sort of transparency and accountability. So I added a paragraph to the resolution about, I think it's the third or fourth paragraph, that, you know, right now the fair student funding formula is provides a certain amount of transparency and accountability, in that we know, you know, it's related to specific types of students, and that's why a school is getting a certain amount of funding. But that only accounts for maybe, you know, 2/3 of a school's budget, and the rest of the school's budget is not really directly tied to specific mandates and needs. And so I think, I think it would help to enhance the transparency of these school budgets, because I think when a parent looks at these school budgets, while we understand the fair student funding part of it, we don't understand the rest of it. It's hard to compare year to year. It's hard to compare between schools. And I think tying each funding line to a mandate or a need would help address some of that issue of transparency and comparability. I think another member, Simone, had asked to talk a little bit about the special education budget. There was some news about, you know, whether or not special education could be, the money that is spent on special education could be used to offset some of these budget cuts. And, you know, our understanding is that there is an impartial hearing. There's a whole series of, you know, arbitrators that hold impartial hearings over special education. And if they issue a ruling requiring that person, that family receive reimbursement for special education, it's really hard to understand how that money could be used to restore general education budget cuts. So, you know, I know that has kind of been in the media a little bit, but from our point of view, it really seems like special education, you know, particularly stuff that has gone through an impartial hearing, I mean, that's kind of its own separate budget. That really is not something that we could like use to offset other budget cuts. And I think a member, Nathifa Lewis, had asked for, you know, mentioning you know, the special education students, and so you know, in the footnotes where we kind of discuss the different types of groups that may be that could get more additional fair student funding weights, you know, we sort of listed out a long list of you know, different types of special education students. So that those are, you know, that's kind of the resolution and how it came about. I guess what I would like to do is kind of open the floor to other members for thoughts or changes, or if they're happy with how it's written, then you know, just sort of, you know, state their thoughts, and we'll move from there. So I guess I'll leave it to you, Barbara.
Okay. Thank you, Ted. So members can raise their hands, and I'll call on you if you have a comment or something to change, or before we go to public comment at this time. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me check, make sure I'm not going over anybody. And help me, Ted, if you see any hands raised, as I don't see any.
Yeah, I don't see anyone either.
Okay, great. So I'll give our members a couple more minutes to think on that. And then we'll move on. All right, so I guess our members agree.
Oh, Simone has her hand up now.
Thank you.
I just want to say I agree and I support this resolution, and I think if nobody of us has anything else to contribute or say, we can move on. And yeah.
Thank you, Simone. At this time, I'm gonna give the public, we can hear 150 people just for this portion on the resolution. If you have something to say, a question to ask, or a statement that needs to be made, if you could raise your hands and we'll unmute you and you can speak just about the resolution at this point in time. And help me, Elena, to check the chat, to check if there's any hands raised or anyone has anything to say.
Don't see any yet.
Okay. We'll give it 5 minutes.
None. Okay, everyone's in agreement.
I guess so. That's a great thing.
It is.
All right, 2 more minutes.
While we're, Barbara, while we're waiting, I just make one more comment.
Sure.
And the public should, you know, if anyone in the public wants to speak, feel free to raise your hands. I also wanted to I know Lou had made a comment earlier about sort of, you know, retaining families in the public school system, and I think that's a laudable goal. I appreciate him, you know, making that comment. I think that it is important to find ways to retain our families. There was an article in the Washington Post maybe a few weeks ago about and where they actually studied the sort of school, or not the school, but the sort of the patterns of where people have been moving during the pandemic. And there was a pretty clear pattern that sort of more dense urban areas like New York City, San Francisco, but really even like, you know, even cities in, you know, not like enormous cities, but just pretty much cities all over the place have lost people. And it's pretty clear that part of the cause of that is sort of the opportunity to work remotely. You know, I know I've heard from some parents myself that I know personally that, you know, their work situation changed and they were allowed to work remotely. And so they, you know, they ended up going somewhere. So I think the shift towards remote work has definitely changed some patterns. And that may mean that people who in recent years have been living in the city may be moving a little further out. That could start happening a little bit. You know, so I think if it does happen, you know, that part of that may just be sort of this natural organic change that happens from the shift to remote work. You know, and it's not really specific to the schools, but I think it is something that we should observe that, you know, is happening out there, that people are having more flexible work situations, and that will impact school attendance. But I do agree it's important to retain families. And I think in a way, this resolution is sort of indirectly an attempt to help retain as many families as we can, because I think at the bottom of it, we want our kids to receive a quality education. And to the extent that we can give, we have many disadvantaged students here in the city, and to the extent that we can improve their outcomes, I think that's really reassuring to all families, that the quality of the school system is where it needs to be.
Thank you, Ted.
So I'll leave it there. I think Shaliza has her hand up now.
Yes. Go ahead, Shaliza.
I wanna, it all comes together in terms of we're having this large influx of refugees / immigrants come into our community. And I don't know how many have reached District 28. But I met with the City Hall Humanitarian Department a couple of days ago. We had a meeting, and it is alarming the amount of refugees coming and the amount of resources they're going to need. And that also include the same kind of funding we're talking about. How many of our students are going to need the help right now? Because if some schools are social community schools and they have social workers who are able to help in that situation, that is a support that is there for our students and are getting that feedback. And the resources from like YMC and other community organizations that are out there, and they're seeking resources and asking us small nonprofits so adapt a shelter, an entire shelter, just to help with this process. And I want to know, like, how is that going to affect us in terms of our student funding too? Thank you.
Thank you, Shaliza. So there's no hands raised and no other hands raised, and I guess it's a go. So at this time, I will ask Elena to call a roll call as we vote on this resolution.
Sure. VJ Ramjatan, President, not here. First Vice President, Barbara Williams.
It's a yes for me.
Second Vice President, Ted Chang.
Yes.
Recording Secretary Elena Minova, myself, yes. Treasurer Lou Zhao.
Yes.
Members Nancy Lugasi, not here, I believe. Member Regimen Dakar.
Yes.
Member Cassandra Alexander.
Yes.
Member Shaliza Dean.
Yes.
Member Natifa Lewis.
Yes.
And member Simone Dornbach.
Yes.
All right, unanimous, yes.
Okay, the vote is unanimous and the resolution has been passed. Thank you. You could stop cheering, Ted.
Great.
Thank you, Elena. Yes. At this time, we have Noreen that is here to speak a little bit on school opening. And I give her the opportunity.
Narayan.
No,
Him, yes. Mhm.
it's a him. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, I apologize.
It's quite all right. Good evening, everyone. I don't want to take too much time, but we are looking forward to a successful school opening for the 22-23 year. We have our superintendent's offices and teams have been doing walkthroughs of our buildings to verify and make sure that preparations in each building is ready for opening. And those walkthroughs are all going to be completed by tomorrow. And so far, we've had a few minor bumps in the road in terms of, clearing up some construction issues and things of that nature. But we are on track to have all of our buildings in D28 open on time to receive our students on the 8th of September. And excuse me, as you know, we are going to be having some different recommendations regarding the health and safety guidelines based on the revisions from the CDC. So for example, masking will now be optional for all students and staff. We are not going to require the health screener to enter the building. all of the vaccination requirements are still in effect. And also now when students are testing positive or staff, they will quarantine for 5 days. And when they return, they will be required to wear a mask for 3 days. The one change with that is that if a student is in a room with another student who tests positive, for example, they will not necessarily have to quarantine, but we will be providing test kits to all students and staff members who may have been exposed to someone who was positive. Ventilation reports, I'll say again for those who are not aware, you can check the ventilation status of any school by going to the DOE webpage and just selecting that school. And when you select the school, on the very first page, you will see the ventilation report, and you can check that report by classroom, by office, and they should all be green, which means that the ventilation in that school is operating as designed. We have upgraded all of the new buildings where we can with the MERV 13 filters, which are able to filter out the virus particles. So every building that can take those filters has them. And we will continue to have the 2 air purifiers in every single classroom as well. And we're also keeping up with our cleaning protocols, our enhanced cleaning protocols. So at the end of the school day, the desks and the classrooms are going to be sprayed and wiped with sanitizer to make sure that they're ready for the next day. And I'm just going to pause there in case there are any questions.
Yes, I have one question. So the mask mandate, is this for every person's, or is it for just the ones that are vaccinated?
No, the masks are optional for everyone in the school.
Wow.
Which is the current CDC guidelines.
Wow, because, okay, it's the rules. I can't, that's gonna be a super spreader, is what I think. Lou, I see you have your hands up. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question on the after-school activities, especially sports. I remember, it was required every student join after-school activity to be vaccinated. Then I think it was changed to only some sport. Can you clarify this? Because I have seen many, parents are talking about it and complaining about it. I want to, when I reply them, I want to, be clear and sure, what exactly the requirement is.
Yeah, it should, as far as I know, and it's the current health policy is on the info hub on the DOE webpage as well, so that it's parent facing and public facing. So it also, for the after school activities, especially sports, the vaccination requirements are still in effect. So students who are in band, sports, and so on are still required to be vaccinated.
I'm coming back with a follow-up question because I'm speaking as a parent and as a nurse. Mm-hmm. If you're not required to wear a mask in the building, but they're requiring 5 years old to be vaccinated to participate in after-school program, I don't understand it. It's like they're contradicting themselves, because if you're saying, okay, come into the building, everyone, whether you have COVID or not, you don't have to wear a mask. But on the other hand, you have to be vaccinated if you're 5 years old for you to play softball or basketball or whatever. So how is that? I don't understand it. It's puzzling to me that you don't have to, at first, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, but now it's everyone. But at the same time, 5-year-old can't participate in after school programs if they're not vaccinated. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, these are the guidelines that we got from the city's Department of Health. And I wish I could have more details on that, but I will definitely take that question back to Central and ask for more clarification for you.
Yeah, definitely, because it's confusing to me and what about parents entering the building? Do they still have to be vaccinated to enter?
Yes.
But they don't have to wear a mask if they don't want to?
Correct.
I want to talk to someone from the CDC. Thank you. This is ridiculous.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Elena.
I have a question. Can we actually monitor whether the numbers of kids participating in after-school activities and sports have been reduced in comparison to pre-COVID years because of the vaccine mandate for younger kids? Because I'm curious if there's a way for us to do that metric, if we're actually losing kids participating in those after-school activities and PSAL sports or whatnot.
I mean, we can try and look at the numbers from, year over year. I think there may be a lot of factors at play because, I mean, this past year was our first year coming back after COVID. So I'm not sure which years we'd be comparing, but we can certainly try and get those numbers for you, pre-COVID versus when we returned full-time last year.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. If there's any principal here or parent coordinator that, wait, you have your hands up, Natifa, my apology. I'll come back to you. I just want to make a statement. I'll come back to you, okay? If there's any principal here or parent coordinator that we forget, we overlook, next time you come into a meeting, you rename yourself, you put principal, parent coordinator. This way we don't overlook you because we can't really see everybody in the meeting. At this time, Natifa, go ahead.
So it actually follows up a little bit with what both Barbara and Elena mentioned. With the vaccine mandate for after school programs, what about, does any of it apply to participation in physical education? As many of the same sports that are being played in after school are being played there. Many of the after school programs happen right in the school by, some of them by staff, etc. Are there any differences? Is it only external programs or some of these suggestions that can be brought back? Because honestly, as many people have said, the mandates are not making sense. Whether you're for or against masking and whatnot, is not about a policy thing, it's about what actually makes practical sense. Because for this past year, a lot of students were already somewhat compromised in terms of the quality of those extracurricular activities, especially the more physical ones that they were able to participate in. So going into that for another year, when mandates are being dropped to left, right, and center makes no sense.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, during the school day no students are required to be vaccinated for regular classes, which includes the phys ed classes like gym. However, for sports teams that play after school and so on, those activities do require vaccination. And so I'll ask for clarification, but I believe that is the policy currently.
Thank you. Any more for Ms. Dry? I see your hands. We're going to add you to the list for our comment section. Okay. Ms. Dry is the parent coordinator at Haller, so I work with her every day. That's my girl. Any more members have a question or a statement? All right. Thank you. At this time, we will move into our public comment section. If Elena Aminova will call the list for me, I would appreciate it.
Sure.
You have 5 minutes. Wait, hold on, Natifa. You have 5 minutes to ask your question and another 5 minutes to get your question answered. If Cassandra, if you're not busy, can you be the timekeeper? You're real great at that. So if you could do that for me, I would appreciate it.
I know I'm usually great at that, but I'm frazzled. I was just out of orientation and this too at the same time in a long work day. And I probably wouldn't be able to be as accurate as I usually am. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Mama, I got you. Go ahead, Elena.
First one is Vanessa Sparks. 5 minutes.
Good evening, CEC and District 28. I bring you greetings from Community Board 12 under the leadership of Latoya LeGrand, who is the Education Chairperson for Community Board 12, and the Reverend Carlene Thorpe, who is the Chairperson for Community Board 12. So I just want to say to everyone, hello to another school year. I'm very, very excited. I was very, very excited to hear the superintendent's report and just hear all of the great things that have been going on and coming out of D28. Our community board is looking forward to becoming true partners with District 28 for not only the schools that fall within the encatchment area of Community Board 12, but District 28 overall. I believe my chairperson said that she actually had the opportunity to meet Dr. Pate. Our education committee and overall community board will be hosting a number of forums with the superintendents, not just of districts 27, 28, and 29, as we have schools that fall within all three. Our community board has schools in all three districts, but also with the high school superintendents and the superintendents for District 75 and 79. So I look forward to a very, very productive year with a CEC 28 and the entire District 28 team. Have a good school year.
Thank you, Ms. Sparks. Always happy to see you. Next, Elena.
Second speaker is Venus Ketchum. Venus. Maybe she stepped out.
Yeah, we'll move on and come back.
Okay. Move on to Sean Slevin.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Superintendent Pate and Ms. Williams and other CEC members, educators, parents, thank you very much for allowing me to attend your meeting tonight. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sean Slevin, the Executive Director of Swim Strong Foundation. We are a 501c3 here in New York City. Our mission is to reduce unintended drowning and water-based accidents. And we do that in two primary ways: by providing the actual swimming skills in DOE schools, actually 4 DOE schools, 2 in Brooklyn, 2 in Queens. And then we have a program for the schoolroom, an environmental water safety program that I want to speak to you about. We are 16 years young. We've helped over 10,000 people learn these swimming skills. We've provided over $1 million in free swim lessons for families that have needed that help. And since 2016-17, we created this program, Know Before You Go, which looks at the environment as it relates to water safety. And we've taught that to about 15,000 students in 20 some odd schools across the city. So our program really is non-traditional in that it looks at people's relationship to the water on a daily basis, from inside our homes to everywhere we need water out of doors. Our local swimming pool being, you know, the most stable environment, to a backyard pond, to a big lake, to a stream in a local park, to our raging rivers that we have here, and of course our ocean, which is the most volatile of water. Each one of those bodies of water have their own nature, behavior, and dangers. And so even skills and talented swimmers have to approach those bodies of water differently in order to be effective and efficient through them. So we want to make sure that that awareness is out there for people, because what's happening for us here in New York City, it's like a trifecta. We have the fact that our water levels are raising 1 to 1.5 centimeters every year. And we have our tropical storms that are increasing. The last 2 years, we had to go to the Greek alphabet to continue to name those storms. There were so many. And of course, they're getting stronger and stronger. Today is the anniversary of Ida, which was a really powerful storm that was responsible for 91 drowning deaths between New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania. 13 of those people were my neighbors in Woodside, Queens, who were trapped and drowned in their basements. Had they had our programming, that never would have happened. And then also, as I said, the trifecta for us in New York City, our waterfronts are being developed as never before in our lifetime. So all of us have so much more access to open water, and we really need to understand the nature of that water, as well as have the swimming skills. But it's not just about swimming skills. It's about understanding the seasonality of water and the wild weather issues. So I bring this to you. I know the time is ticking down here to say that our classes are available. We'd love to bring them into your schools. They are meant to be taught by teachers in the schools themselves. Swim Strong is not providing the classes, just the content. So this way that you can have it for the whole school year. You can use it multiple times. It can be used for your school families, not just your students. And we thoroughly encourage this. Our world is becoming so much more watery. In 50 years, our children, our grandchildren will have such a different relationship with the water. We wouldn't even recognize it based on the way we relate to the water today. So we have to start with education. Education is power, and that's how we're going to get ahead of this so that we all can be safe in, on, and around water. We need to understand that water, we can't avoid it anymore. We simply can't avoid it anymore. Ida pointed that out with those microbursts, those torrential microbursts of rain that happened inland. It was the first, but it won't be the last storm that hits our coastal region and inland. So any questions that you may have, I'm happy to address them. I'll put my email address up in the chat. Would love to, again, speak to some of the principals to get this training into your schools. I have been sending out messages around water safety for a number of years. I'm not so sure that those emails are getting through to you. So if you have not received any of our messages, please do let me know that. It may be that your school has to request that information is received from our organizational email address.
Thank you, Ms. Lovin. My nephew who is 17 became a junior lifeguard this over the summer.
Excellent.
And my son was eager, but he can't do it because he's only 16. So I know it's a great program. Me, myself, I'm from the Caribbean, but I can't swim. I can float from here to China, but I can't swim and I need to learn to swim. It is a life-saving event.
Come and join us in the water.
Thank you.
Ms. Levin, thank you for being here to advocate. I actually had the opportunity to put all three of my children through the Unsinkable program at Asphalt Green when they were children. And, from a mom who, can barely hold her own, it was important for me, because we love the water, to have them really be strong swimmers. And so I join you in advocating that we get our children, and for this part, let me just say this, even for the adults, that we have water safety, knowledge building, as well as opportunities for us to really, really become stronger swimmers. It's important. I agree with you. We did an outreach with my community group for, the folk who had severe damage from the flood, and the family, the home where they were trapped in the basement and lost their lives. It really is. And that's not a typical sort of being able to swim sort of scenario. But
has
as you
nothing
said,
to do with
the
it.
water finds you, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's really why I want to underscore that this educational programming that we're doing in classrooms is not about swimming. It is about understanding water in our daily lives and how we need to be able to step in to know what to do when there is a situation of wild weather or these storms that are just going to continue to keep coming at us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Don't forget to put your information in the chat, Ms. Levin. Sonia?
No, that was it. I just really want to be able to share this with the parent coordinators, because I think it's very important for parents to also receive this information. Sometimes the parents' fear gets translated into the children. Yeah. And so there's a hesitation. And so I think it's very important. I think it would be wonderful for you to speak at one of our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, just reach out to me, give me some information as to when those are, and we'll try to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Venus, let's try it again. Back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we
Loud
can.
and clear.
I think I've been unmuted the whole time. I did so good at being quiet, right? You didn't even know. I never had 5 minutes in my whole life of attending CEC.
You're lucky.
Since 2011, so I'm going to be
The
excited.
timer's up.
I see it, so I can see how much I can fit in these 5 minutes. So exciting. Of course, I'm Venus Ketchum, community education activist, community and parent leader in education in New York City. It started with me being specific to District 28, then it expanded to a commitment to Queens South, School District 27, 28, and 29. And now I've visited several CECs in Brooklyn and have a greater commitment to the success of students across the entire city, with a focus on Queens South, with a focus on parts of Brooklyn that are similar to parts of Queens and the city as a whole. This month in August, are we in August? No, now we're in September. So this is my first CEC meeting for the month of September. In August, I was able to attend School District 23 in Brooklyn for the first time in person since the pandemic. That was so exciting. And the reason why I started attending School District 23 was because of the podcast School Colors season #1 and the discussion of Ocean Hill, Brownsville, and the history of community control of the education system versus mayoral control. Definitely please check out that podcast for the history of community control and how similar School District 23 is to School District 29 in Southeast Queens. I also was able to attend District 18 on Zoom, which again, inspired by a client. Their school district is similar to District 29 in that it's 84% African-American. I've also was able to attend some others via Zoom. Oh, I attended District 16 this past Monday to learn more about that district and also to shout out Principal Mims, former Principal Mims, now Superintendent Mims. It was exciting to see him. I always share the story of how when he received his tenure, I thought it was from Dr. Folks Bryant, but it was actually from Mabel Sardoui who gave him his principal tenure. He said that my name is Brendan with an A because my mom's name is Brenda. So he was excited that I remembered that story. To start your video. Later. Yeah, so I'm committed now after attending all of these CECs across Queens and Brooklyn that CEC members, not only CEC members and not this specific CEC, have something to talk about specific to schools and the schools that they liaison with every month. There's so many important concerns and issues in our community, and sometimes we get into this and have nothing to say everything is great, right? Yet I know schools need new water fountains. I know schools need bathrooms repair. I see 140. I was just walking the other day to Baisley Park, and I see that 140 has parapets around it. So I'm excited to know what beautification work is being done on the outside of PS 140. I would love a full presentation about the GNT program that's coming to PS 140, what curriculum is going to be used, how is the staff going to be trained, and how is it going to mesh in with the current programming at the school. I'm looking at the time, don't worry. I also want to hear about the District 75 program that's coming to PS 140, as well as some history about the District 75 program that's at PS 48. Again, please invite PS 48's principal to come and present, support her. What are her struggles with parent engagement? You know, what are great things happening at that school? I miss Principal Pat Mitchell so much, but I would love a formal introduction to the new principal of PS 48, as well as that school has a District 75 program attached. And I would love to learn more in depth about that program and how PS 140s is going to be similar. I see the time, don't worry. Again, new principal at PS 80, new principal at PS 354. What is going on with PS 40 and PS 312? Are they combining? Are they collaborating? Are they getting new principals? Are AP moving up? How is PS 160 doing? How is PS 50 doing with their new extension? Are schools slated to get new extensions? Let's compare PS 50 to PS 144, who both have extensions. How are the academics? And that's my last thing. I see I got 40 seconds. I would love for a 5-year review of every school that presents about their state exam test scores. How are they doing before the pandemic? How are they doing in the midst of the pandemic? And how are they doing now? I know schools are using Acadians, iReady, and other forms of assessment. I would love to see data presented. I understand everybody thinks their school is the greatest, but I would love to look at the numbers from the past until now so that we can create for the future. I'm so excited at how I did.
It's all
I got
right.
10 seconds left. Hello to everybody. listen to school colors, read the book. Good leaders have great questions, ask great questions. I did it. Woo! Happy
Thank you,
New Year.
Venus. You know what? It's the first day of school the first meeting for September. So I'm not Oprah. I can't give away cars. So you get 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes. And there you go. You did it all. Elena. Next speaker, please.
I don't know how to remove the alarm. Do you guys hear the beeping? That's it. I have to physically close it to get rid of
take it
that.
off.
Our last speaker of the night is, last but not least, is Anis Dry. Anis, please unmute yourself.
Hello, good night, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Anis Dry. I'm the PC at HALA, Hillside Arts and Letters Academy in District 28. I have thoroughly enjoyed this meeting. It's very informative. And I had a question when the gentleman was speaking about some of the mandates. And I know I'm getting this question already with parents coming in. If parents aren't vaccinated, whoever can answer this or even email me, I'll put my information in the chat. But if parents don't have vaccination cards or proof, are we not allowed to let them in the building at all? How does that work? Because I'm in a building that has 4 schools and 4 administrations who sort of run their building and schools in their own way, in their own entity, as well as for collaborating with a lot of the programs Dr. Pate spoke about. Will there be signups for this? Will our president, fortunately for me, Barbara Williams is our president, so will she be bringing back that information? How do I link parents to these programs and events that are happening? And that was, had a couple other things, but those are mostly, and the swim program, is that something that schools can get involved in? I will email Ms. Slevin, I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, directly, so that we can maybe bring that into our school, if that's possible, or even into the Jamaica campus community. But I did enjoy this meeting, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak. It won't take up too much time, I see the time. I understand parenting and dinner has to happen, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, it's Narayan again. Just real quick. As of right now, vaccination is required for all, excuse me, allergies, sorry, is required for all visitors to DOE buildings. So all visitors to school buildings need to be vaccinated.
Okay. You got your answer, Ms. Dry.
Okay, this
Thank
concludes
you.
the public speaking portion of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. And before we close this meeting, I would like to give the opportunity to our wonderful liaison, Miss Bibi Madden, just to say good evening. Bibi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Happy to see all of you. As usual, District 28, very productive meeting. Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome. You mute yourself, Bibi, just in case. Let's see what happened.
I know, I'm relinquishing my time to you, Barbara. I know you don't want to have a very long meeting this evening.
Okay, thank you. I so appreciate it. If there's no other questions from our council members, I would like to make a motion to end this meeting on tonight and let everyone go home and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening and have a wonderful weekend. And I see everyone on September 8th. Can someone second that for me, please?
I second.
Thank
Are
you,
we
Elena.
having a
Thank you,
business
Latifa.
meeting today as well? Just
Yes, we are.
okay, thanks.
And I'll give everyone 10 minutes. Is that okay? 10 minutes, or you'd only want 5? I'm giving away 5 tonight, so I'll say 5 minutes.
Five.
Okay, 5 minutes, and we'll come back to our business meeting. So I'm giving away 5. Oprah gives away car. I don't have any car to give, so I'll give 5 minutes. So without further ado, this is the end of District 28 calendar meeting for September 1st. Thank you all for coming. God bless you. Have a good night.